our very own stylish, very spiritually connected Rev Sharon. Did you know that you are the sunshine of God's love? Did you know?
Yes.
Did you know that you are the apple of God's eye?
Yes.
Did you know? All right. Did you know, Catalina?
Absolutely.
Did you know that every hair in your head is numbered?
I'm in trouble.
I'm talking scripture here, y'all. Every hair, it says in Scripture, on our head is numbered. That's how very, very intimate God is with us. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how's the energy meter this morning? 1 is low, 10 is high.
20.
10. Okay, we've got a couple 10s up front, a little mixed bag in the back. Solomon, who represents integrity and our capacity to walk in spiritual law. Solomon took the throne, or was given the throne by his father David. And Scripture says that Solomon was a lover of God. He loved the Lord. So go in your heart and ask your heart, do I love the Lord of my being? And how do I show it? Do I love the Lord of everyone's being? And how do I show it? So Solomon loved the Lord. And Scripture says he offered sacrifices, which means that he gave up the lesser for the greater. You know, like anger for forgiveness. Like that. And the God of his understanding asked him, since you have been so faithful about walking in my statutes, I want you to ask me for anything at all, and it's yours. And Solomon says, read it with me. Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart, to judge thy people, that I may discern between the good and the bad. Give thy servant an understanding heart. Why in the world would Solomon ask for an understanding heart? Do you suppose? Why would you ask for an understanding heart? So as not to judge wrongly. How many of you have ever lost at love? Oh, and I'm the only one?
Okay.
How many of you have ever made a mistake in a relationship? Like said the wrong thing or not said the right thing? So we're all in this together, right? How many of you have ever withheld your love because they didn't deserve it? They did something that hurt. Yeah, so an understanding heart would invite us to choose again. Choose again. Today, we've been talking about visionary relationships all month. And because June is typically the month where we celebrate relationships, weddings. So, as you consider all of your relationships, imagine what it might be to have a divine vision for each of them. I mean, the highest vision that you can imagine. That's what we're considering again today. And the theme for the year is y'all, let's do it together. Bolder together, powered by faith and bold by vision. So here's 100% faith in God, the God of our understanding of God in here and everywhere present, including in everyone else, and walk by that faith. And then we've got to be pulled by a vision of what is an ideal relationship? What is the best kind of relationship that I can imagine for this person and I? So we're imagining too. This is a month unity-wide where we celebrate the creative power of imagination, called the architect of our dreams and the scissors of our mind. So this morning, I want us to consider, I want you to join me in considering what I've been thinking about all week, and that is a radical combination in relationship, intimacy and authenticity. Now I say radical because intimacy and authenticity isn't the norm, is it? Maybe. Is intimacy and authenticity the norm in our world? No. So we call for now, in these times, in this time, a radical kind of combination. Radical meaning basic, fundamental, going to the center. Radical. In chemistry, I wanted to do this because it's a metaphor, I think, for what radical is for each of us in relationship. So in chemistry, radical means a group of two or more atoms that act together, but they're not unchanged. In other words, if you and I apply it to our relationships, we are unchanged at our best. In other words, no matter what happens in a relationship, whether it's delicious or not so good, we remain unchanged in our spirit. We are still respectful, kind, compassionate. Do you see why this is radical? I mean, read the newspaper. No. Watch TV. No. Watch the news.
No. Social media.
This is being recorded and it's going out on the website.
Yes.
And intimate means, read it with me. Intimate is essential self, close to the core. Intimate, close to the core. And authentic means?
Genuine, trustworthy.
So we, as we grow along spiritual lines, hopefully are growing in a number of ways. One is we come to trust God, the God in us and all around us. We become trustworthy because not only do we trust the God in us, we trust that self that is the God in us to do the right thing, say the right thing, take the right action, make the right choice. Genuine. Genuine. Genuine, not like if I'm in a bad mood, you're going to see it. Genuine, like I know who I am as a spiritual being, and that's what you're going to see. Genuine, aligned with the very best in us. Do you see why it's radical? Let it begin with me.
Let it begin with me.
Yes, let the radical combination begin with me.
Let the radical combination begin with me.
I was looking at some YouTube, and I happened to come across, actually I was looking for a particular song, and I found it by Barbra Streisand. It was the MGM Hotel in Las Vegas, 1994. And Marvin Hamlish was conducting the orchestra, playing a medley of all of her top hits. And suddenly the lights dimmed and you could hear the crowd roar as she walked out on the stage and stepped up to the microphone. And she said, the heart is the most powerful energy in the world. The love in our heart is the most powerful energy in the world. And with that love that's in our heart, we can change the world. You and I can. One relationship at a time. One encounter with another at a time. We can change the world. And then she went on to say, I've been thinking about these times. Now this is 1994. See how history repeats itself. She said, I've been thinking about these times and all of the natural disasters and how people come together and get past differences whenever there is a disaster. She says, but why do we have to wait till there's a disaster? So we're going into a new week today, sort of the beginning of summer, just a couple days in. What would it be like, I asked myself, to have a new kind of season of radical love? I mean, what could I do different, perhaps, more than I've been doing? Or what is the law of the Lord calling me to do in that relationship or this relationship? Some of you have heard me talk about my dad, one of my heroes. He was a Chicago policeman, and he started as a patrolman riding a horse named Danny Boy, a beautiful horse. And he rose through the police department to be deputy superintendent of police, which I didn't like at all. It's hard growing up in that house. But deputy superintendent of police. And I know that he was sent, as he rose, he was sent to the most violent, crime-ridden neighborhoods in Chicago to be captain of the police station there, or lieutenant. And never, not once, did I ever hear my father malign the people that he arrested. Never, not once, did I hear him say a bad thing about someone that he had to take from a home because of domestic violence. Never once. Never once did I hear him malign a certain group of people. Never, not once. And I was around him for a long time. I saw him more than once, and I'm sure he did it every night, I just didn't see it, on his knees at bedtime, praying. He probably was praying for the strength to do the right thing by the people he was in charge of watching out for, even by the people he was arresting. I tell you that because it's pretty amazing to think that with all he saw, all of the violence, all of the crimes, he never once put his focus there in our house. It is, isn't it? Let it begin with me.
Let it begin with me.
Wow, isn't that a tall order? Yes. I mean, that you and I can go into our week and in all of our conversations, never not once, malign anybody else. We can do it. We can do it. It takes a whole lot of focus and acute presence to what we're thinking and what we're about to say, and even what we're listening to, especially at school, right? That would be you. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. But you've got what it takes to meet the challenge. young man. So I'm going to go back to Solomon for a little bit here and just talk a little about the metaphysics of it all. So as I said, Solomon represents what in us?
Integrity.
You know, you ought to be sitting in the front row because you. Solomon represents our integrity. It also represents the joining of wisdom and love. Solomon loved the Lord. And so at Gibeon, which represents spiritual awakening, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream and asked him, "What would you have me give you? You have shown great and steadfast love for me, Lord, and for my father. And you kept him, this great leader, in steadfast love. And now, O Lord my God, thou hast made thy servant king in a place of David my father, although I am but a child. I do not know how to go out or how to come in, and thy servant is in the midst of people that you have chosen, a great people. Give thy servant, therefore, an understanding heart to govern thy people, to know good from evil." So when we read it here, give thy servant an understanding heart to govern thy people, it doesn't mean, let me see how I can govern everybody else or my family. It means, how can I govern myself? How can I govern all those thoughts? My thought people, as Charles Fillmore always said, those thought people. Because you know, we say in unity, and it's absolutely true, every thought has life, substance, and intelligence, and it does what it is. A happy thought creates happy. A sad thought creates more of the same. So give thy servant an understanding heart. Give me, O Lord, an understanding heart to govern my thinking, to know the difference between a useful thought and a non-useful thought, a helpful thought and an unhelpful thought, a supportive word and a non-supportive word. And let me choose the right. It pleased the Lord that Solomon had asked for this. And God said to him, "Because you have asked this and have not asked for yourself long life and riches or life for your enemies or the life of your enemies, but have asked for yourself an understanding heart. Behold, I will give you a wise and discerning mind, so that there will be none like you before you or none after you. And I will also give you, though you have not asked, I will give you both riches and honor." That's the promise. If you and I will really do our best to honor the best in us, our authentic, genuine spirit self, be intimate with it, such that we become one with it, then the promise is we will have riches that match our own heart and honor. That is self-esteem. And that is the respect of all who know us. That's worth it, isn't it? Yeah. The path of wisdom. There it is again, y'all.
Let it begin with me.
Yes, let it begin with me. This understanding heart, let it begin with me. In John 3, we read, and John is the perception of spiritual possibilities. So do you have a perception of spiritual possibilities? I mean, do you and I have any inkling of what's possible for us, spiritually speaking? It's worth contemplating in our meditation time. It's worth studying and realizing what our spiritual possibilities are. Jesus promised it would be ineffable, unending joy and a peace that passes all understanding. That means that, we're not rocked to and fro by the news we hear, paper we read, or what someone else is doing. John, who's being questioned by his disciples, and John again represents their perception of spiritual possibilities and a desire to do the right thing. Who among us does not desire to do the right thing? Because we're here in church on a Sunday morning, we must. And John answers his disciples and says, hey, what's going on? Look at Jesus. He's baptizing all these people. And John says, he must increase, but I must decrease. The Christ must increase, and the one that isn't the Christ that just sees the possibilities must decrease. In other words, the Christ starts acting on the possibilities. The Christ in us takes us to the spiritual possibilities. So we have two terms in unity. Well, it's a framework that helps us understand ourselves in spiritual law. And the framework is this: we are a person who has individuals who have a personality and individuality. The personality, as unity defines it, is that part of us that holds the opinions, beliefs that we've somehow picked up along the way. Our experience, our home life, who knows what we came in the world with. But our personality is those traits that we've developed as a result of our living. Some of them are great, aren't they?
Yes.
I mean, I know a lot of people in here who are brilliant and clever and funny. And then there's that other side of us, right? The personality side that got hurt or that doesn't trust, that has some fear. Don't get too close. And that's the part that decreases, that must decrease. As John said, I must decrease, but the Christ and the Christ must increase. Guess what? Let it begin with me.
Let it begin with me.
Keep smiling. I love Howard Thurman. He has said some incredible things, philosopher, writer, and theologian. And he said there is something in every one of you that awaits the sound of the genuine in yourself. There's something in every one of us. If we're still here, we haven't discovered all of us. We have not discovered all of the power of God in us. And so he says there's something in us that awaits the sound of the genuine in yourself. It is the only true guide you will ever have. And if you cannot hear it, check this out. If you cannot hear it, you will all your life spend days on the ends of strings that someone else is pulling. On my kitchen calendar for today, to be what we are and to become all that we are capable of becoming is the only end in life. It takes faith, it takes a vision of what we can become. So, as you leave today, my invitation is that you resolve to, number one,
Deepen your relationship with God.
yes, how are you going to do that? By prayer and meditation. By prayer and meditation and service. Being in service in some way. Number two.
To deepen your relationship with self.
So it's good every once in a while, like on a yearly basis maybe, or daily for that matter, is to take an inventory of what's on the shelves in our heart and mind. And some things have been there way too long and they're not edible anymore. You know what I'm saying? So we got to dump them. So that might decrease and there's room for the increase of spiritual self. And number 3,
Put love into action each day. Pray for others. Do good.
pray for others. It's a great way to condition the heart, to pray for others, to pray for an understanding heart. So, are you ready to be bolder?
Yes.
For love,
Yes.
powered by faith,
Yes.
pulled by a vision,
Yes.
a dynamic duo, a radical combination, ready to be intimate to the core, and authentic like genuine?
Yes.
Will you report to me next Sunday?
No.
Take me in your suitcase.
I'm going to share with you to close. I was at our Unity conference last week in Kansas City, and we shared the Unity statement on social action. I want to share it with you so you know, given that you're a Unity person, that you know where as a spiritual organization we stand. Webster defines the word unity as a state of forming a complete and pleasing whole. At this time, in the evolution of the planet and the lives of human beings upon it, the task of forming a complete and pleasing whole is imperative for positive evolution and harmonious existence for all. This perspective has seemingly been lost. Our wholeness, our oneness, our sameness as a human race. We must now remember more than ever that we have much more in common than we do that divides us. The Unity Movement stands for and will tirelessly work for harmony so that all people may know the freedom of peaceful expression, so that they may know their own inner worth and essential contribution to the whole of life. Where there are divisions of opinions, beliefs, and perspectives, Unity embraces curiosity, exploration, and expanded awareness of the gifts of diversity. Where there is fear of the other, Unity stands for inclusivity and peaceful acceptance of another's right to create the life of their choosing. Where there is oppression and hatred, we stand for justice and understanding and for extending compassion, kindness, and forgiveness to all. Where there is discrimination, we stand for inclusivity and equality. We pledge to be an advocate for well-being, respect, and civil freedom for every human being. Any proposal or action that seeks to discriminate against individuals or classes of individuals based on prejudice, stereotypic profiles of national origin, class, creed, or core beliefs and values established by our forefathers and founders, we instead choose unity. In harmony with the divine spirit we stand, so we may live in a spiritually awakened world that is continuously evolving. This is our prayer. This is our decree. Through our actions, we let it be.
Amen.
Worth being a part of, isn't it? Yeah. So close your eyes for a moment. God, we thank you now for expanding in us an understanding heart, for expanding in the leaders of the world an understanding heart that includes this respect and acceptance and a mind and heart of inclusivity. Today, Lord, we give thanks to know that your spirit in each of us is increasing so that we may be a part of changing our world to a world of peace and one that works for all. Amen. Amen. Okay then. It is the offertory time of our service. So I invite you to, if you have a gift for the church, to hold it in your hand and we will bless it. We bless it because blessing increases the good. And we know the law returns to each of us wonders and miracles and blessings, tenfold, 100-fold, and more. So please join me in saying the blessing together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Thank you, God.
Amen.
Amen.
This next song I'd like to share with you is actually been on my mind and heart for a couple of weeks now. When Sharon gave me the topic, I asked, can I sing this one? She's like, sure. So as I started working on this song, I thought, what's the interpretation of this song? Who am I singing it to? Because it's like, it moves me on a deep level, but so I said, well, it's God singing it to me, it's me singing it to God, it's God singing through me to you, or it's perhaps to somebody who I love very much that I can see no fault in. Maybe somebody who has the rose-colored glasses on. But I think it's all of the above, depending on how you feel it. But it's a beautiful song, and it's called You're Still You. Through the darkness, I can see your light, and you will always shine, and I can feel your heart in mine. Your face I've memorized, I've idolized just you. I look up to everything you are. In my eyes you did no wrong. I've loved you for so long, and after all is said and done, you're still you. After all, you're still you. You walk past me, I can feel your pain. Time changes everything, one truth always stays the same. You're still you. After all, you're still you. I look up to everything you are. In my eyes you do no wrong, and although you never asked me to, I will remember you and what life put you through. And in a cold and lonely world, I found one true love. You're still you. After all, you're still you.
Thank you, Jack. That was beautiful. Join with me now as we bless the gifts, and we bless this offering that we're giving to Unity of Alhambra this week, $150. So thanks to all of you who make that possible. Alhambra supports our region.
20 region, musically for kids. Wonderful. 20 years. 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 20 years.
God, we just bless these gifts and know that they bless this ministry in powerful ways and bless those to whom we tithe. We give thanks that you pour into the lives of these givers wonders and miracles, extraordinary blessings this week, as you bless them in every possible way. We give thanks that this is so now, and so it is, and we all say, Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, God. Amen. We're all going to sing again. If you'll all